Today, I only got one question for you. How would you live if you knew you couldn't fail? I asked that because recently I was on Reddit and I joined this discussion where they talk about simulation theory. Just out of curiosity, not saying that I believe any of it, but just out of curiosity, I like to see different points of views and hear different theories. So there was this one poster that said he feels like he's been living his life with cheat codes. He says he's worried because he feels like something bad is bound to happen because all his life he's been winning. He's never taken a loss. He's never known a loss. And up until recently, he actually didn't see a problem with it. He thought that that's just how life was. My assumption, he didn't clarify, but my assumption is somebody came along and said something to him. Maybe they had a conversation and maybe he told him about his life and maybe he told him like, oh yeah, man, I never experienced that. Oh yeah, I've never dealt with loss or anything like that. And the person probably was like, really? You're probably getting ready to run into something really bad, like something terrible is going to happen to you, or I don't know. Maybe they spooked him. I can't tell you. I can't say for sure what happened, but it was odd to see the shift, to kind of hear it in the tone of the passage that I was reading, and then I was thinking, I'm like, man. I mean, background on the story is he did say that he came from, he comes from wealth, so his family's well off. So he never had to worry about not having enough or failing at something or not being good enough at something. He was always in a position to be good at it. And he's been winning ever since. So my thought is, how much of that is from just the family putting him in position and him being able to financially afford everything and be able to do everything and accomplish everything? And then how much of that is from the mindset that was given to him through having wealth? So having that sense of security and having that safety net and having the family support you, and how much of that attributed to his mindset of giving him that identity that I can't lose. Like he probably didn't even know what losing was. How much of that is from the mindset and how much of that is from just basing it off the wealth? Because if we just base it off the wealth, there's plenty of instances where people come from wealth and end up in a worse situation. Like they end up worse than they would be if they came from poverty. You know what I'm saying? They get hooked on drugs or get addicted to different things and end up throwing their life away or end up losing everything. So I can't really say it's the wealth that transitions people into the winner's mindset. I will say that it helps. But how much of that is just strictly mindset? A lot of it, I believe, is from the mental. I believe that it's from how the person viewed himself. This particular person, I believe he viewed himself as a winner. I believe that he didn't see any reason that he would fail at anything. It didn't register in his brain. He didn't see that as a possibility. So in turn, he probably believed he couldn't fail. Or he probably believed I'm always gonna win. I'm gonna always succeed at this. If this is what I want to do, this is what's gonna happen. Do you see what I'm going with this? I feel like he already had that in his mind, in his that he identified with being a winner or being someone that could never lose. I feel like that played more of a role in his success than the actual money. Because I actually would love to go back and look at the story and if there's any updates, because it seemed like his sense of identity was teetering. It's almost like he was getting ready to shift into a failure mindset because he probably believed that he was getting ready to fail because somebody else shifted his frequency. Whoever he talked with he ended up believing some of the things they were saying, and then began to identify with them. Now, if he was able to pull back from that, great. But I don't know. I would have to go look into and see if he's posted more things about it. But how it looked like it wasn't going to turn out good. It looked like, hey, you were winning. You had the right mentality. You had everything in place. And it was too good to be true for you. I think we all suffer from that syndrome of stuff being too good to be true, and then we're expecting the worst. We're expecting something bad to happen, and then something bad happens, not because it was meant to happen, but because we projected it to happen. It's just a reflection. Like, the outside world is just a reflection of your inner world. So whatever you got going on in here, these two places, that's what helps create this outside of us. And I'm not trying to be, mystical or anything like that, or, I don't have any crystals, but I really look at this like a mental science. Like, I'm looking at this, and I mean, a lot of it makes sense. I mean, who am I though? Listen, I'm not a spiritual guru. I'm not your mentor. I'm not your life coach. I'm just a guy sharing my experience on this platform. That's all I'm doing, because I'm literally going through these same things that I'm talking about. Like, I experienced all this. Like, I struggle with trying to identify with a certain path, or I struggle with detaching from money. I struggle with a lot of these things, with creating my own mental movies. Like, struggle with them because I've been, for so long, I've looked at the world one way. And then when I'm introduced to a new way that's more beneficial to me, it's kind of hard to accept it, especially when you're used to being, attached to a certain path, or when you're used to being attached to a certain way of thinking. It's just the nature of the game. So all I'm trying to do is create an opportunity for me to fully identify with the type of person that I actually want to be. So really, these videos are more about me than about you. If they help you, fantastic. But the main goal is to work through this in real time. So it's almost like a documentary. This is almost a documentary. If I'm gonna be honest with you, it's like a documentary. I'm attempting to shift my mindset that way that I can effectively affect my reality. I do believe that it's possible. I'm not saying I can do wizardry. I do identify as a wizard, but what I'm trying to say is I'm right here with you. We're on the same path. Hopefully we can get there together. If you get left behind, I'm not coming back for you. Yeah, I really just think about not being able to fail and try to think about my life in that aspect. What would that be like? Living a life knowing you can't fail. Not thinking and hoping you can't fail. Knowing. I know I can't fail. How would you live? I'm coming to terms with how I think I would live. And when I think about it, I'm trying to incorporate that into my everyday life. So basically becoming that person that can't fail. But it's really kind of crazy to me thinking about that, thinking about living your everyday life like you cannot fail. So you're removing all doubt, all fear. You're removing all of these obstacles from your mental, which in turn is going to remove obstacles from your life. The only obstacles we ever come across are the ones we place down ourselves. You only fail when you choose it. When you choose failure, that's when you fail. If you don't want to fail, don't fail. I know that sounds like me being a dickhead, but that is as simple and as clean as I can possibly tell you what I'm trying to say to you. Don't fail. Just don't do it. Remove the self-doubt. There's no reason for you to doubt yourself if you can't fail. Damn. This shit is kind of hitting me real time. So see what old Bob has to say. Let's see what Bob Proctor. And listen, let me say this: when I play some of these videos and some of these clips, some of these people, a lot of the times I don't like fully subscribe to these people. Does that make sense? Not like subscribe like on YouTube, but like I don't subscribe to their ideologies or, the things that they believe wholeheartedly. There's definitely information here and there that I identify with, and I think that's how we're supposed to be. I don't think we're supposed to be all in on another person's beliefs. You see what I'm saying? But I definitely think that there's information. Like everybody has some knowledge to share. So, I mean, even your boy Billy, as disappointed as I am in dude, he's still got information that's valuable. But that was very lame what he did. Bob. Let's see what Bob's talking about.
Hello there and welcome. I have studied personal growth now for my entire adult life and have been teaching it all over the world. And one of the greatest hang-ups that people have is the belief in themselves. They suffer from something called self-doubt. Many years ago, I read something. It was by Ralph Waldo Emerson. It was his essay on self-reliance. That's what we want to do. We want to rely on self. And in that, he said, there would come a time in every person's education when they'd realize that envy is ignorance and imitation is suicide. So many people look at someone that's doing very well, possibly in the same field they're in, and envy them. Do you know what that's saying? That's saying, I don't know that I have the same mental faculties you've got. I'm drawing on the same potential that you're drawing on. There is only one mind. I don't know that. So I'm going to envy you thinking you can do something I'm not able to do. The truth is, if you can do it, I can do it. Envy is ignorance. It's not knowing that. And he said, imitation is suicide. Do you know that nothing in this universe would move in the precise order it moves in your absence? That's true. Everything in the universe is essential. You take any part away from anything, it's not complete. And everything in the universe moves in a very precise way. So do you see, we shouldn't even want to be like anybody else because we are unique. We are truly unique. There's something about us that you'll never find in another person. We're unique. And we've got the godlike ability to think. Now, what is self-doubt? Self-doubt is the opposite of self-confidence. Confidence comes from understanding. Like I would imagine you're confident you can drive your car. In fact, you're so confident that you'll be talking to somebody on the phone, you'll get in the car, you'll start the car, you'll drive, and you'll drive maybe 4 or 5 blocks, not even being aware of what you've done. It's all done automatic, Your concentration is on the conversation you're on. Now, when you first got in a car, you couldn't do that. The car was probably jumping all over the place and you thought you'd never learn how to drive it. But you learned how to drive it. Now you're quite confident. You're confident that you can get dressed when you get up in the morning. When you were a little boy or a little girl, you couldn't do that. You had to be taught to do it. Well, you know, self-confidence comes, like all confidence, it comes with knowledge. And the more you study you, the more you understand who you are, the more confident you'll become in your ability to do whatever it is you're doing.
Every time I stepped into something that mattered, I've experienced doubt, including this channel. Not because I didn't care, but because I cared too much. Cared too much about the results. Cared too much about the perception of it. Like, am I gonna be good enough? How's this gonna look? Care too much. But I've noticed that anytime I've tried to take a significant step forward, I've experienced some form of doubt, some form of fear. Something basically telling me,
are you sure you want to do this? This could happen. This could happen. This could happen.
and it's all negative. None of it has ever been to my benefit. I've never thought about stepping into something and then thought about this could happen and this could happen. Positive, thinking about positive things, positive outcomes. I've never really done that. Maybe here and there, but for this in particular, this channel, when I thought about doing it, I thought about all the negatives and eventually tried to talk myself out of it, and almost did at a certain point. Almost did. But I just tweaked things here and there, just tried different things. And who's to say where I'm at or where I'm going? But I know that as of today, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. I feel good about what I'm doing. I'm excited to do what I do. And I think that's all that it takes. I'm just going to continue to build on that. And I would say for anything in your life that you feel like you want to do, but something's holding you back, I would say just do it. Just do it. Let this be a living testimony for you. What I'm doing right now. I don't got no business doing this shit. None. Never thought about doing it. But here I am today. I really fully comprehend how life works. Like how each stage of life works, how there's like levels in this shit. And when you try to do something that is to your benefit, there's resistance. And it's resistance from your old self battling with your future self. So with the person you want to be and the person you were, they're at conflict, and that's where you get the doubt and the fear, because the person you were don't want to let go. They don't want to leave. And the person you want to be wants to introduce himself, wants to come in, wants to step into his new role. So you got two different sides battling for the same thing. So that's why I believe we experience what we experience when we're trying to move outside of our comfort zone. Your comfort zone is developed by your old self. Your old self has these habits and these desires and things that you just sit with. Like, it just gets completely complacent. The moment you try to break through that, it's when you start to experience all that resistance and all that turmoil, all that fear and doubt. So what I would probably do, what I will do, is to just literally bulldoze straight through it. Like the resistance, the wall that's there, that you feel like there's a wall there that you're bumping up against, I'll just break through it. Like that's why they call it a breakthrough, I guess. I don't, whatever. But I feel like, I feel like that's literally what needs to be done, regardless of how cliche it sounds. There is no way other than through. You can't go around it. You can't backtrack and find a different path. If there's something that you want and you want to do, you have to go through the resistance. The resistance isn't going to stop. That much I know. The resistance isn't going to just stop and let you move forward. No. You literally have to push through it. And it's all a mental game. It's all a mind game. The entire game of life that we play right now is all done up here. This is where we play the entire game. Back to my question. How would you live if you knew you couldn't fail? That's all I got for you.